My stepmother tried to move her daughter into my inherited house while I was at work. When my grandmother passed away, she left me the one thing that meant more to me than anything else: her beautiful 3-bedroom house on the edge of town. It wasn't a mansion, but it was filled with memories, love, and years of family history. She had made it very clear in her will that the house belonged to me and me alone. I was only 26 when I inherited it. After spending months renovating the old place with my own savings, I finally moved in and started building a peaceful life. I thought the hardest part was over. I was wrong. My father had remarried years after my mother's death. His new wife, Linda, had a daughter named Chloe, who was 23 and had never managed to keep a steady job. Linda always believed that family should share everything. But somehow that rule only applied when someone else owned something valuable. At first, Linda would casually hint that Chloe needed a place to stay. "You have 3 bedrooms, she'd say with a smile. "It seems wasteful for one person." I'd politely refuse every time. "I worked hard to restore this house," I reminded her. "Grandma wanted me to have it." Linda would sigh dramatically but never argued directly. Until one Tuesday. I came home after a long shift at work and immediately noticed a moving truck parked in my driveway. My stomach dropped. Boxes were stacked on my porch. A stranger was carrying furniture through my front door. "What is going on?" I shouted. Linda walked out of the house holding a set of keys. "Oh, you're home early," she said cheerfully. I stared at the keys in her hand. "Why do you have keys to my house?" "I had copies made," she replied casually. "Chloe is moving into the upstairs bedroom. It makes sense. Family helps family." For a moment, I honestly thought she was joking. Then Chloe walked down my staircase carrying bags of clothes. She smiled. I already picked my room. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You have exactly 5 minutes," I said, calmly. Linda laughed. "You can't throw family out." I pulled out my phone. "Watch me." I called the police. Linda's smile disappeared instantly. She tried grabbing my phone, yelling that I was embarrassing the family. When the officers arrived, I showed them the deed, the will, and proof that I was the sole owner of the property. Linda insisted she had permission. "From who?" one officer asked. "My husband." The officer looked at me. "Does your father own this house?" "No." He looked back at Linda. "Then your husband has no authority here." The officers informed Linda and Chloe that they were trespassing. Their belongings were removed from the house one box at a time. Chloe burst into tears. Linda screamed that I was selfish and heartless. Before leaving, she pointed at me. "You'll regret treating family this way." I simply locked the front door behind them. The next morning, I changed every lock, installed security cameras around the property, and added a smart security system that alerted me whenever anyone approached the house. A week later, my father came to visit. He looked exhausted. "I had no idea Linda copied your keys," he admitted. I believed him. He apologized repeatedly for what had happened. Apparently, Linda had convinced herself that once Chloe lived in the house long enough, I wouldn't have the heart to remove her. She had planned everything without telling my father. He eventually filed for separation. Months later, I finally had peace again. The house became what my grandmother always wanted it to be, a safe place where I could build my future without manipulation or drama. Sometimes people think being related gives them ownership over your life, your home, or your happiness. It doesn't. Love is freely given, respect is earned, and boundaries are not cruelty. They're protection. Every evening, I sit on my grandmother's old porch swing, watching the sunset over the garden she planted decades ago. I smile, knowing I kept my promise to her.